Good morning, friends. This morning, elaboration is on competency based learning, CBL. Friends, in the new educational scenario, CBSE has emphasized, not only CBSE, all the competitive exams have emphasized on competency of the children rather than bookish knowledge or rote memory. Now there is no use of only knowledge. There is ample application of knowledge in the form of application. So competency based learning, CBL, is an educational framework focusing on students mastering specific skills and knowledge at their own pace rather than adhering to fixed time based semesters. See, there is no meaning of testing and evaluating or assessing the knowledge of the student unless and until they have practical application of that concept that they have learned. So competency based knowledge is a new platform provided by CBSE, and that is the reason why you'll see that in class 10 and 12 there are case studies. Not only that, in NEET exam and in JEE exam also, 10 questions are there where you will be tested your competency, that is case studies. You will be given a case and you will have to diagnose that case, and you have to come to a decision on interpretation and application. So most of the questions nowadays in competitive exams come based on competency of the children. It emphasizes real world application, student empowerment, and transparent measurable learning outcomes, which are key features including personalized learning, ongoing feedback, and the requirement to demonstrate proficiency to advance. Friends, why there is a need of competency based learning, CBL? The CBSE manifested or rather contemplated the idea that the children nowadays do not go for exploring new ideas, innovating ideas. Rather, they keep on mastering the concept which they have already, mastered in their classrooms. So that is not the point of education. Education is mastering the concept and applying it to different cases, different practical situation, real life situation. So mastering based progression, students advance to the next level only after demonstrating mastery of a concept. For that, they need to have flexible pacing. They are not restricted to learn as per the educators and the teachers go for giving them the knowledge. No, they are free to go for learning as per their level and pacing forward according to their strength and ability. So it is a way to empower the learners to move at their own pace, allowing for deeper understanding of the concept rather than going for the literal meaning. So what is then the question arises, what is the defined outcomes of that competency based learning? Learning objectives are clear, measurable, and transferable. Clear, measurable, and transferable. The objective of competency based learning, CBL, is just clear, measurable, and transferable. The real world application. What is real world application? Focusing on applying knowledge to practical real life scenario. See, you'll see that in IIT these days there are experiments. The projects are based on new innovative ideas, new research, and that is what competency means. You have to apply the learned concept in a new scenario, in a real life, and find out what better outcomes can be extracted from that. Student center. The competency based learning is not teacher center, it is student center. Students have their empowerment of learning and taking ownership of their education. Earlier, what happened? That is, the teachers, the instructor, the educators always, took the ownership of their education. As a result, there was a poor outcome. But nowadays, in the changing educational scenario, the the learners are the ownership of their education. They are the owner of education. They can learn as they wish, often choosing how they demonstrate their knowledge. It is up to them how they are going to demonstrate or manifest their knowledge. If their knowledge is in the form of a new innovation, if their knowledge is in the form of a new case study, if it is a form of a new diagnosis and a new outcome, it is a real learning. So the benefits of competency based learning are as follows. First one is it is a personalized learning. It is not meant for generalized learning. Suppose individually the students are different. One student may have a different potential from the other. Therefore, it tailors education to individual needs. One student may need to have one kind of application, the another one it might be interested to the rather different application of that concept. So this tailors education to individual needs, allowing for extra support wherever is necessary. Second benefit is that improved engagement. See, we have been in constant observation that students often do not engage themselves in the classroom. That is the biggest challenge for the educators. But now in this competency based learning, as the students are the masters of their classroom, they are the owner of the classroom, they can frame, they can tailor the conceptual learning as per their needs, allowing themselves to go for the way they choose. So there is an improved engagement. All the students in a group, 5-6 students group, are involved or engaged in active learning and meaningful positive experiences, rather than prescribing them or imposing on them certain rules and regulations. Rules and regulations are of no meaning in competency based learning. Then, besides improved engagement, there is an equity, provides equal opportunity for all students to succeed. Even the the mediocre student will have an opportunity to learn, and regardless of his potential, he can also cooperate and collaborate with good students and come up with some new ideas. So there is a equal opportunity for everyone regardless of their starting point. Career readiness. The competency based learning prepares the individuals to develop skills, which is the need of the hour. Skill learning is more important than knowledge learning. No more knowledge is required, skill is required. In the corporate world, the skilled engineers and doctors and managers are required. So it develops and prepares the individuals to provide a competitive edge in the workplace rather than a traditional way. It is just against the traditional education. Traditional education is a time-bound education. It is time-based education, which is now obsolete and outdated. No one is going to adopt, traditional education, because it is, evaluation-based, exam-based, which is of no use unless and until CBL is competency-based, assessment-based. Traditional learning focuses on grade and marks, but competency based learning mastering specific skill through varied portfolio based assessment. And the role of the educator is very important here. Educators in CBL act more like mentors or facilitator of learning. They have to understand that they are not teacher, they are facilitator. They have to facilitate learning in the classroom just like a supervisor. They are not going to intervene into the children's adopting different skill for a different concept. They have to observe and support them, facilitate them, explore new ideas and implement in an environment which is competency based and specific and subject oriented. So it is something which is really an important concept, and every one of us, being an educator, everybody has to think of the different aspects of the competency based learning. And most important, if you go for understanding the competency based learning, you will find that there are seven important ingredients, or you may call it pillars of competency based learning. The first one is communication. Communication is a key to learning. Why I am asking you? Because if you are not expressing yourself, if a child is not able to communicate his ideas to the peer group or to anyone else, then his learning is incomplete. It is not a perfect learning, or rather it is not a learning at all. So communicating and expressing the ideas that you have learned or the concept that you have mastered is very important. Communication plays a key role in education. The second one is collaboration. Collaboration is the second most important factor of competency based learning. The children collaborate one another to come to a decision, to conclude on, and to explore new ideas and to apply it to new situation, real life situation. So it's a kind of collaboration rather than individual learning. Individual learning is no more applicable nowadays. Collaboration is the best way of mastering the concept and applying it to the different scenario. Then the third one is critical thinking. I said communication, collaboration, and critical thinking. Critical thinking demands thinking beyond the box. We should not only go for traditional way of resolving the issue. There could be a better way of resolving the issue. Then comes problem solving, which is very important. If you are having a real life problem, you are not going to seek help of others. You can simply apply your own ideas and common sense, and you can solve that problem as per the demand of the situation. Creativity is another important factor of competency based learning. Imagination. If your imaginative aspects of learning is higher, you can go for writing books, analyzing ideas, making of experiments, coming with solution, and these are all the efficient learning methods. So critical thinking, imagination, citizenship learning. You are learning and making yourself a learner citizen. Digital literacy. It also empowers the application of all digital equipments, all digital platform, and therefore it is a digital literacy rather than traditional literacy. Learning to learn. This is very important. Learning to learn comes as making self-awareness, self-learning. It is not dependent on the instructor. Self-efficacy is important. It is designed to equip the learners with transferable skill which can be transferred to the real life situation. Not just knowledge, not just recalling, but preparing them to be adaptable and responsible individuals. These competencies are developed across all subjects and focus on applying knowledge, solving real world problems, and becoming lifelong learner. Education is a lifelong learning. It is not one time learning. If you feel that education is just one time learning, you are mistaken. So there are seven core aspects of competency based learning. The first one I said communication and collaboration, expressing ideas clearly, listening and actively, and making work effectively in groups. Then critical thinking and problem solving, analyzing information and making logical decisions and finding solutions to challenges. Creativity and imagination, turning new ideas into reality and innovating. Citizenship, understanding rights, responsibilities, and participation, actively making participators involved in community learning. Digital literacy, using technology safely, effectively, and responsibly. Learning to learn, developing the ability to be a self-directed lifelong learner rather than imposed learner. Self-efficacy, building confidence in one's ability to succeed. And that is what I wanted to talk about. This is Eddie Singh on the channel Easy English by Eddie Singh. Have a nice morning. I believe you have come to know the CBL, competency based learning. Thank you very much.